guys, and welcome back to Making Finances Sexy. My name is Rose Short, aka the Red Queen. Come down the rabbit hole with me. I am a realtor here in the Phoenix Valley, as well as a financial consultant and CEO of Chronica Luxury. My mission is to help as many people as I can to become financially free and take back their time. And joining me today, of course, is the wonderful Ms. Jess.
Hey guys, welcome to Making Finances Sexy. My name is 𝐆𝐔𝐘𝐒, your rent rave own realtor and certified instructor with the company 101 Financial, right here in the Valley of the Sun, making it my mission to assist you in moving out of renting and into homeownership. No matter your situation, I'm ready to be your personal finance coach and first-time home buyer specialist.
Whoop, whoop. Before we go any further, full disclosure on this episode, we are going to be talking about a system that Tactical Income has. We're going to be talking about Tactical Income a lot. We are not affiliated with Tactical Income in any way. We are potentially interested in joining that program, but we have not yet. And if we do, we'll of course document that. But I just wanted to put it out there that we are not, trying to sell you on Tactical Income. We are not going to get any kind of financial reimbursement for doing this episode. It's just something that we wanted to talk about.
It's a cool program.
Yeah. Awesome, guys. And today we are talking about Tactical Income and Jeff Tomasulo. I hope I said that right. Who we saw at Financial Freedom Expo, Limitless.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his talks. He came into the financial and investing industry with zero knowledge, and he had support along the way. And now he is kind of like us, just wants to help the ordinary that don't have the knowledge or the rich aunts and uncles or whatever who could have taught them these things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he had a very interesting story because stocks are one of those things that I'm kind of into, but I also don't understand. And so most of my experience with stocks has always been, gifted from companies and whatnot, which I hate that companies do that because the way they do it is always like, oh, here's the stock, but it doesn't vest for 2 years or it doesn't vest for a year, whatever it might be, which is really just a way of saying, we're rewarding you now for your loyalty and for staying with us, which I get from a business perspective, but it's also kind of crappy because, if you're gifting me stock, I want it to be available then and there, or at least like a 6-month period. The whole 1 to 2 years, I think is just really shady and a really terrible way to do it. So we went and saw him, this Jeff, and he blew both of our minds, I think. From his story of not knowing anything and then losing everything and realizing that he didn't know anything and going back and building it back up. It was just really powerful, and it really spoke to a lot of people, I think, or it would have if more people had been there. At this point, he's got 27 years experience. He is the CEO of Tactical Income, which according to them is a subscription service for any investor who wants access to learn their process of trading with an edge. And he talked a lot about his edge, and it made a lot of sense.
Investing with an edge, what does that mean? You have to have a competitive advantage of knowing when, how, why to buy, pivot, or sell. The way I love to explain the edge, and not many people like hearing this, especially in my industry, I look at an edge as a casino. I don't want to be a gambler. I want to be the house. You want to be the house. You need to have that edge. The standards of investing with an edge. You have to have clarity of which direction the market is going in. You have to have an understanding of what strategies you are going to use to take advantage of where the market is. And then you need to have control over your emotional state. It is so important to be able to do that. The other thing about having an edge, and the way we like to teach this and the way I use it, is that you need to think like a professional. And what professionals do is they are super efficient deploying their capital. And the way we do that, and the way we do when we manage our risk, is we always start someone with options. But the reason we start with options is because options give you an edge, right? You can define your risk with options. Options have an inherent leverage inside them where you would leverage your money like you've never thought before. And think about what I just said. You can define your risk. Think about the market. There's so much fear when you put a trade on because you don't know how much you're going to lose. When you take away that fear, there's a lot of clarity. You can make better decisions. And the best part that I love about options, because it's not about gut, it's not about I think Apple or I think NVIDIA because of the AI is going to go higher or lower. It's based on math. It's based off of probability and statistics. And that is where we gain our edge in the market.
Yeah, just managing your risk. And I am the same way. Like, stocks are very interesting to me, and like I want to get a better understanding, because I am that person that was just following the hype and buying into things that I didn't really have any knowledge about, but everyone was, you know, on Twitter, Facebook saying, buy this now, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And then of course it didn't pan out like they were saying it would. And I essentially lost money. So I think just knowledge, man. Need to do your research and have a mentor. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. I'm just where like people will tell me, you know, oh, you need to buy this stock because it's down right now, or you need to buy this stock, blah, blah, blah. And I've never really understood that, because it seemed like all the stocks they were talking about were along the same lines, right? So when one is down, they're all down, and when one's up, they're all up. And that's one of the things that Jeff talked about was not having, you know, having non-correlated stocks, which makes so much sense, but he's the first person I've ever heard talk about it.
Let me get to the nitty gritty. Trades are correlated. What does that even mean? Well, you have two asset classes that move very similarly, right? That's what it means, right? Too many people, like my mother-in-law, when you look at her portfolio, why did her financial advisor lose her money? Because when everything started going down, everything started to go down. Everything in her portfolio.
Because ideally, if one stock is up, you know, yeah, you're going to have another stock down, but when that stock goes down, the other stock goes up, which makes sense. That's how you don't lose a lot of money. But if you're trading strictly correlated stocks, then when one's down, they're all down. And when one's up, they're all up, which explains so much of how people lose, you know, substantial portions of like their 401k. Because that's one thing I never understood either. I was like, how does somebody lose their entire 401k? And it's because a lot of times people with 401ks aren't actually looking at the stock options. They're just letting the companies do whatever they want. And let's be honest, the companies are kind of like government. We don't know what they're doing necessarily. And it's probably not in our best interest.
Mm-hmm. And that's the most important thing about like diversifying your portfolio. Also, it kind of relates to the non-correlated, just like making sure you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
That can, it can do really well, but there is that, I want to say it's almost 50-50 chance that it can not do well. And then there goes all your eggs.
Yeah, and even that term, diversify portfolio, like I think a lot of people think they know what it means, but they don't really understand it. They think diversification just means having a bunch of different stocks. And like one of the things that you and I learned was McDonald's and IBM are correlated stocks, which I never would have thought, you know, those two would be related to each other. But once it was explained, it makes sense. So even the whole like, oh, diversify your profile thing, I don't think that's ever actually explained. I think a lot of financial investors that are telling people that don't actually know what it means either.
Right. Yeah, same with like reading stocks. And that's why I really enjoy the thought of Tactical Income's program, because they actually show you repetitive concept to trading, because that was another problem that I had. I was jumping into the stock market and not knowing what I was looking at or doing, and just like buy this now or buy that. But like to have a system, I feel like that would make things a lot better for trading. Not
using and having a proven, repeatable system. We're going to talk about this a little bit, but I'm going to just give you don't want to be a one-hit wonder, right? You want to be able to have a process that you can repeat over and over and over. And that's how you're going to get consistency, and that's how you're going to make more money, and you're also going to have confidence when you know
is like when you have an actual system in place.
Yeah, especially a system that's proven the way his is proven. I really liked all the stuff he talked about. There was one thing he talked about, and I didn't write it down. I don't remember if it was options or futures or
Options.
was it options?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that I'd never heard of, but that makes so much more sense than just buying a single stock or, even 10 stocks that he was talking about. And I've never heard that phrase from anyone that I know that deals with stocks.
So
Yeah.
an option is basically a contract that gives you the right to buy 100 shares of something, but you don't have to know about this. What I want to show you is understand, hey, you have a decision to make. I have an opportunity. Do I buy the stock, or is there another way to make better money more efficiently? Think about this. There's a firm, this is results after 2 days. There's a stock trade, 20 shares of the stock. The profit was $460. I made 22%. I did an option trade. I bought one contract that cost me the same amount of money, $2,100, and I was able to make 76%. That is the power of efficiency.
People who are financially wealthy or financially well off because of stocks, and I don't think even they knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, he was saying that like people don't trade options, and they do. The payout isn't as great apparently, but if like the more you do it, and like his examples on the board and stuff during his presentation was like it all adds up. Have a proven system that works and you stick to it, trade the options, and like over time it'll just build your portfolio, build your wealth.
Yeah, one of the things he said that I really liked was if you take care of the downsides, the upside will take care of itself. And I think that's true of almost any business. Like if you're starting your own business, or if you're trying to get into something like this, or even if you're just starting, to slowly monetize something. Like I think it's true that if you prepare for the downside and take care of what could happen there, the upside will take care of itself. And that's where I believe a lot of people get in trouble with stocks is they think they're managing their risk, but they're managing their risk looking at the potential profit instead of managing their risk looking at the loss. And that's one thing that he's really, really harped on about is how much are you willing to lose? And let's put a hard stop there. And that's what his program teaches you is how to actually mitigate that and, not lose a whole lot. Because everyone says like, oh, if you don't lose this much or more than this much, then you set to auto sell here or auto whatever here. And it's like, okay, but that doesn't make sense to me. Like, can you walk me through it? Right. Mm-hmm. Whereas with him, it's just like, okay, no, we'll manage it. We'll show you everything you need to do to make sure you don't lose more than you're comfortable with. And that's really big.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like when I brought up that question about in the beginning, is it your own money? Because if you are trading right off the bat with real hard cash, or you want to make sure that it's cash that you don't need, like don't be putting your grocery money into the stock market. That's why I truly believe in paper trading, which is it's not your real money, but you can actually gain the knowledge and get the practice in of trading with this fake money in the stock market, and then see how things pan out for you before you start putting your actual funds into it. But a lot of people don't want to take the time to like do that. They want to they're looking short term and just like, dang, I just want to hit this jackpot, but then you're just gambling.
Yeah.
Because gamblers, right? They ain't hoping and praying. But the house is one that has the probability and the statistics in their favor. And if you can think about it in that way, it makes the world a much better place.
Yeah, exactly. I get that perspective because me, like I'm not the kind of person who wants to sit and stare at a computer. Yeah. And so, seeing the picture of his home office with like the 6 monitors and stuff, I was just like, oh, that hurts my brain just looking at it. But that's also why you find a mentor who does enjoy that kind of thing. Or in this case, you buy into a program where the main person does enjoy this kind of thing. And the program's a little bit pricey. I believe it was $6,000. But the access of information that you get for that $6,000 seems well worth the buy-in. If, again, you're going to be serious, take the time, learn it, and, put the effort in.
Definitely. Any program, you get what you put in, right? And you get what you apply to your everyday life.
Yeah. I see it a lot with other programs where, you know, they buy in, they're like, okay, well, I bought the program now. Why aren't I making $1,000 in a day? And it's like, still gotta put in the work, man.
Yeah, that's the same with my personal finance class, 101 Financial. It's all the basic fundamentals of finances, but if people aren't, you know, sticking to their budget and keeping track each week and just doing little things like that, it doesn't work. The program won't work.
Yeah. Yeah, even Dave Ramsey's Baby Steps, like that program does work if you stick to it, but you know, most people don't want to stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's through any fault of their own. I think it's just a combination of society we live in, the instant gratification that, you know, has become our daily lives, and just poor education to begin with.
Yeah.
And again, that's the fear of not having the right education,
Yeah.
right?
Or like me, impatient.
I am also impatient. I'm not even going to pretend otherwise. That is one thing too that's been interesting in the affiliate marketing sphere, though, is they found that, and it makes sense, right? If you're giving something away for free, while it might benefit people, the lack of price tag on it can actually bring the value down even more, because people don't realize how valuable it is because they're getting it for free and they're not putting in the work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you see a lot of these like $7 programs, because $7 seems to be the magic number right now. And that's because if they gave it away for free, not everyone would put in the work, but because you paid the $7, like you're willing to put in some of the work, right? Obviously, you're still gonna have people that drop off. But with this program, if you're going to put in $6,000, you're probably pretty invested in actually learning it.
Yeah, exactly. He brought up a good point about like understanding volatility. Hope I say it right. I'm not good at words. Big key takeaway, because the market is very volatile.
Volatile.
Volatile. Volatile. So you gotta expect you're not gonna win every time. And that's with anything as well. We're not gonna win every day, but when you do have wins, like it's an amazing feeling, but you don't want to expect it every single time. Especially in the stock market, things go up and down. Like we don't know, it happens so fast sometimes, or it's a gradual thing. But I think people need to not have that emotion tied into when they're trading, because yeah, we're gonna win some, we're gonna lose some, and it's okay, again, as long as you're being smart with your finances and what funds you're using to start practice or getting into trading.
Also, another one, manage your emotions. Emotions is everything, right? You think about Tom Brady, and I bring up Tom Brady because he's been to so many Super Bowls. I think he's been a total of 9 Super Bowls, right? He's won 7. And you know what's so great about Tom Brady? You know what he is his best? He is in his best in the fourth quarter, when the pressure is on the most, because Tom Brady knows how to control his emotions.
Yeah, I just like how Jeff was a pretty cool dude overall. Like he was friendly, felt connected, and I think before you get into a program, you want to make sure that you do vibe with your person that you're thinking of, you know, making these big changes to your life, because financial freedom is, if you don't come from a wealthy family, then financial freedom is a huge lifestyle change for a person. And it can be scary, but it's also really exciting. But it can also put people into a mindset that is just different, and sometimes people don't know how to handle it. But just making sure you're comfortable with the person training you, and they have good morals and good thoughts in place.
Yeah, the fear of failure is huge. With anything like this, you know, getting free financially, leveling up, you know, out of your family situation or your friend situation, like that can be scary, because, you know, if you start doing well, you're going to have a different sphere of friends. It's just the way it goes. And it's not because, you know, the affluent have to stay together. It's because the conversations become different. You know, it becomes, I can't afford this. Well, you know, how can I afford this? Or you get the people who are like, oh, you just got the new whatever, that must be nice. It's like, you were there when I was struggling. Like, you saw the hard work I put in that you were unwilling to put in. Don't give me this, it must be nice crap. And I think that happens a lot. And I think a lot of people are scared of that. A lot of people would rather complain than do anything to change their life, which is why, you know, there's so many magic diet pills out there. And so you have to mitigate that, and you have to get over the fear of failure, because if you never fail, you never know how sweet success is. And so that success is a million times better if you failed in the beginning. But by having the right programs in place, by doing your research, finding what works for you, finding, like you said, a mentor that works for you, then that right there is your risk management of your failure. So you still might fail a little bit, because nobody can do it for you. As much as we would love someone else to step in and do it for us, all the done for you programs in the world, there's still effort you have to put in. But if you find those right tools, mitigate that risk, like you were saying, the fear of failure becomes smaller. And I think people become more comfortable taking that step.
Definitely. Because like getting my real estate license, when I was trying to do this on my own, I failed a lot. But joining a team and like having people in real life who have done all the real estate things, giving me advice, and the training videos and all those wonderful tools, like that really lessens my failures. I still want to fail. Well, no one wants to fail, but we want to fail, because that is where the growth happens, is after the failure, because then you adjust and you're not sitting in that comfortable, stagnant place anymore. You're actually doing other things and start to attract the benefits of just not being scared to fail.
Yeah. Because each failure in itself is an act of bravery, because it means you took the opportunity, right? You took the opportunity to fail. And the thing is, unfortunately, a lot of people don't look at it as an opportunity. But it's really what it is, you know? And that's where a lot of this, you know, we start talking finances and whatnot, it gets uncomfortable for people, because there's a lot of opportunity to, you know, do the wrong thing, make the wrong purchase, and then suddenly you're spiraling down a hole of debt. But it doesn't have to be a spiral, is the thing. It can be you know, it's a step back versus an all-out spiral. And I think a lot of people just don't see it that way. And once they start to take a step back, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that they spiral, because they're like, oh, well, I already messed up, so screw it.
Yeah. And they just give up right then and there. But where's that going to get you? That might get you into a worse position, or you're just, again, just stuck, complacent, and nothing ever changes. So why not just try something new?
I agree. And, you know, it doesn't have to be stocks. If you are interested in learning stocks, like I said, do check out Jeff and Tactical Income. I know he's on LinkedIn. He's on Facebook, I believe, and Instagram. I think that's the only places that we were able to find him.
Yeah, look at his information in the description.
Yes, for sure. But he's got a pretty awesome story, like I said, and his program seems well worth the spend if you have that kind of money to invest. If you do not have that kind of money to invest, do not kill yourself trying to get it. Do not make yourself go into a worse situation to get it. There are other ways to learn how to be financially free without having to spend quite that much. You know, even for us, like right now, $6,000 in a program like that, like, it's not realistic. You're trying to buy a house. I've got my dogs to take care of, which doesn't sound expensive, but believe me, it is.
Yeah, when they're all German Shepherds.
Yeah. But that's why we're building other income streams as well, so that we have that kind of money to be like, okay, well, now that these income streams are up and running, let me go ahead and invest in this and see if I can add another income stream. So
literally start small, like start with your budget, start saving money, get your emergency fund, get your life insurance. That's a good thing.
Not
Yeah,
a whole life, a term life. Don't fall for the cash value crap.
and then like a retirement account, like that's a great starting point. Like, but you first need to make sure you have the funds and make your money work for you.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a lot of what we're going to be getting into next week when we talk about Financial 101 a little bit more in depth.
Do it.